It's time for Who Watch, time and relative blackness in space.
The Black Nerds have the box.
We're here to talk about Series 14, Episode 8, Empire of Death. This is the second half of the season finale.
Empire of Death was written by Russell T. Davies and directed by Jamie Donoughue. The official synopsis is the Doctor and Unit investigate the night of Ruby's birth, but unleash.
Okay, so that's my bad. I'm like, I'm not missing.
Yeah, I was like, that sounds familiar.
I update something. Whatever happened, happened. The description
You'll have to run it back from the beginning.
The description is that the Doctor had to deal with.
We just gonna start that.
No, it's fine. We're keeping it. No, we're keeping it. Robyn, we're keeping it.
We can't.
We're keeping it. I want people to know the energy we entered with.
We're gonna get fired.
I want them to know.
Empire of Death was written by Russell T. Davies and directed by Jamie Donoughue. The Doctor has lost and evil reigns supreme, but one woman holds the key to saving creation. It's fine. We can move on. Matter.
That's what the descriptions don't tell you nothing anyway, so it's fine anyway, to be honest. Because they were doing that teriology math in this episode, but it's fine. It's fine. Here's the recap. Okay, so the episode begins exactly where we leave off. Ruby is still watching the VHS in the time window. 15 and Mel escape from Sutekify Susan's dust of death. They on that moped and giving Terminator and giving like, come with me if you want to live. I said, come on, Mel. Come through, sis. There's nothing we can do except fight. That's what Mel said. She like, that's what we can do. And that's period, point blank. I love that. And then everybody turns to dust. Very much giving Avengers. It's very much, but it was like y'all already on Avengers Tower, and now you turning people to dust. Yeah. Y'all doing a lot here.
Disney said
they like we already got the VFX for some dusting, so I think we could do that. But it's fine.
Hold off the show.
Like let me put that on out the archives. So Sutek revealed that he's been clinging onto the TARDIS since the fourth Doctor banished him to the time vortex the first time. So everywhere the TARDIS landed, he created a Susan triad. And he used the name as a little, just for like a little fun. He was just like, oh, I think that would be fun. That's what I got from it. I watched it twice, and I'm like, that's I think the explanation. Even though the name Susan is extremely common, so like I feel like you could have played around with it a little bit, but whatever. That's just me. The Doctor, Mel, and Ruby escape on a remembered TARDIS, which is a hoopty. That's what I put in the note. We will not elaborate. You know. The dust of death completely envelops Earth, and pretty much everywhere the Doctor has ever landed, or the Doctor says, everywhere I ever stood upon, all dead. And then the Doctor has like this, like just deep yell into the abyss, into space. He's just like, I can't believe, whatever. Very dramatic.
But I couldn't even appreciate the yell because when he said that, all I could think about was the like Vanessa episode from Cosby Show, because it was like the Doctor was like, I was having big fun.
Was like, I was out here gallivanting, but unfortunately, I apparently was also bringing seeds of destruction. Who could have known? Like,
I said, Doctor, did you have your big fun?
He was out here. Yeah, it was an interesting. The Doctor was saying words. He definitely said some words. Then the Doctor, the Doctor inexplicably finds a forgetting woman on a dead planet, and she gives him a spoon, which he uses to make like an antenna or something for the little TARDIS screen that's connected to the time window. Mm-hmm. There's many question marks and ... I don't know. And like I just like the little exchange between them. He's like, "Oh, have you any metal?" She's like, "Metal's a precious thing." And he's like, "I don't believe anything. Nothing's precious anymore." She's like, you have a good face. Like, she just trusts his face. And I love that, but I'm also like, are they trying to imply something here? Like, has she talked to him already? Is this the second time they've met? I don't know. Is he the guy she's referring to? And she's like, a guy said, I don't know. Because this part feels to me like they filmed it for something else and said, this seems like it'll go in this episode. It feels so disconnected to me. But whatever. He get the spoon, he fixed the thing, the doodad. It's an iPad. It's an iPad, is what they did. It's fine. Like, it looked like a TV, but it's like a tablet. And Amani said, he said, who you gonna sell it to? Everybody gone. Like, facts. Like, who you keeping it for? For what reason? Anyway. So Tutek apparently didn't kill them because he was so curious about the woman who dropped off the baby. It just like ate him up. It ate him up.
Which we're just gonna accept as like, I mean, okay.
Tutek wait till now to like start the shenanigans. And apparently he was so perturbed by just not knowing who this woman was. It was fucking him up so much in his body, in his spirit. He had to start that shit. He said, I gotta know. I gotta get out here and I gotta get into it. Cause something going on. This is the story.
It's like his favorite soap opera was left on a cliffhanger. Like, I need this season wrap.
So that's why he didn't kill them, and that's why whatever. So while they're looking at, like, they went to go, because again, a lot of things are occurring, but like they went to the future, relatively, whatever. They went to like 2047 or something to go find Ruby's mom, because that prime minister we met in 73 Yards, because he became prime minister, because that whole episode didn't actually technically happen, whatever. He apparently starts a DNA registry. They do not have enough heat for this as a concept. Like, they say it like, oh, he does the whole registry.
And then they use it to their convenience, right? Like, there's no interrogation of it.
They're not like, damn, that's crazy. Like, whatever, it's fine. Y'all are like, the eugenics records are available for us to look at so that we can find Ruby's mom. That's fine. That's what we're doing. I'm okay with it. We're fine. They go. They start the search. Mel is being pulled to the dark side, as it were. And so the Dr. Pink gang, and, you know, Shooty is acting. So he's a good actor. So you could tell he was very clearly like, thumb to foot. So you could, whatever. Mm-hmm. So they basically have a little ruse so that they can pretend they found the mom, and then Sutek brings them to him because he still got the TARDIS. He got that shit locked. He got it tight. He wrapped around that, but he said, "You ain't getting my goddamn TARDIS, not today." Because apparently that's how he been hanging on to it, just invisibly, for eons. Fine. This is absolutely fine. This is fine. So yeah, they do a whole like, surprise, bitch, gotcha. Leash him, which is crazy, but I was like, fuck it, I'm with it. Put the leash on him, pull him into the time vortex where they initially failed to kill. Whatever, it's fine. We're gonna do it for the second time, but I guess we're gonna pay more attention.
Yeah,
it's fine. We go to the time vortex. He said, "Oh, because you want to go through time and space all the damn time, I'm gonna bring you back through time and space." Then he says, "What happens if you kill death? You make life, whatever.
Death,
something happens.
Death equals life.
Like, if death dies, then there's life." Okay. I'm like, I don't know, because life also equals death. Whatever, it's fine. Pain is love. Whatever. They just flying through the time vortex. Somehow, and I say somehow because it is not clear. I watched this episode twice. It just starts undoing shit. It just undoes all of the death dust. It undoes. It even brings back my good homeboy Winston. It said, "Oh, we taking it all the way back." I don't even know how far back it's going. Maybe they brought back the people from the Fourth Doctor serial. We don't know.
That is my
we don't know. Anything that Dev
did. Is he bringing back people that died naturally? Like, what is happening?
I think technically, again,
it's just the death.
I think it's just the death that was caused by the death dust. So anybody who got dusted, anybody who got that on snap, because that's what occurred.
Okay, specifically by the death dust.
I believe that's who comes back. So that's why Winston, because he's the first one technically that interacted with the dust. So they bring him back. They said, we can't keep a hot motherfucker down. We got to bring him back for the people. I said, good. Y'all did something right in this episode.
My man
y'all did something right in this episode. Everybody come back.
Fanfic is back, baby.
Yay! Everybody back. Everybody's happy. They're holding hands. Kate was holding hands with the unit dude. I was like, wait a minute. This is fraternization. The doctor and Ruby land outside of like a cafe, present day. The doctor's like, oh, sorry, unit finds her. Boom. Okay. So they go. The doctor's like, okay, there she is. But like, she didn't fuck with you. Long story short is what he said. And Ruby says, I don't give a fuck. Goes in there. Like, Ruby kind of does not care about the fact that potentially they're like invading her privacy because they didn't find her through like means of like, oh, we work backward from they found her through the eugenics registry. Let's start there. But also
because Dr. Yu has been enabling her up until
you dropped her off. You put her.
How you gonna sit there and talk about what if she don't want
to? You should have said that before you drove over here. You literally should have said that before you drove over here.
What? First of all, you gonna act like you don't know who Ruby is. First of all, like Ruby has any fucking impulse control at all. You done brought her in front of the woman that you helped her find, and then go talk about
maybe
not. Don't go in
perhaps there. Not. So then Ruby says, that's nice. And you know Ruby don't fucking listen. So Ruby said, I'm out of here. I'm gonna go. She go into the cafe, sit across from order the cappuccino, sit across from the lady. So when they call, they make a little eye contact, but it was like the lady just on her phone. You know. They call her name, Ruby's name. And she's like, that's me. And then they kind of, lady feeling vibes. She's feeling vibes. I think it's probably more because of how she looked than anything. I don't know if it was the name because I forgot about this part. This is so important to this episode for some reason I don't understand. So when we going back a little bit. When they find her, and our unit is like, oh, she's just a regular ass lady. Just a regular lady who had a child at 15 and decided to drop her off in the snow. She said, Harry Potter, who? Bitch, I can show you something.
I was gonna say real Potter vibes.
So dropped her off.
Maybe she was a fan. She said Dumbledore is my inspiration.
So Ruby's like, it's me. You left me in front of a church 19 years ago. The lady's like, oh, I'm so sorry. They hug. It's a whole fiasco. Love that for them, I guess. Whatever. I'm not. The thing is, like, as the season progressed, I got less and less invested in that whole part of the story. And I wasn't invested that much to begin with because I don't actually care about you finding your birth parent. But, like, I understand it. So I was like, I'm with it for her as a character. But whatever. They hug it out. Have a whole thing. Boop, boop, flash forward. I don't know because time is a construct. They at, like, Louise, who is the birth parent, the birth mother, is at Cherry and Carla house. Posted it. Just posted it. They are having a key. And she was like, I thought about talking to you every Christmas. I thought about reaching out. And every year I didn't. That's what I heard. I didn't want to gossip. But it's a whole cute little moment, I guess. I say I guess for a reason. So then the TARDIS, the best part of this episode for me, I hate to say, it's just the way the TARDIS is framed through that door. Like it's in the room a certain way. I was like, that's lit right there. That you did it. Whoever the camera person is, DP did it. They finally gave me something to chew on in this episode. Whatever. Ruby goes in there and she's like, oh, we just gonna have us, a little pizza, have a little key, post up for a little bit. Then we can leave. First and foremost, they had just started talking. Like, clearly you mean several days. Let's start there. Like, you try to waste my time. But anyway, the doctor's already put on his I'm about to leave clothes. Already chilling. Already plugged the GPS to not where he is in this moment. Ready to go. This man's ready to go. It's so very clear to all involved. And then Ruby's like, yeah, I just gotta.
Well, and already
right. Like, it's not gonna be a situation. We're not doing this. We're not gonna play this game. And I appreciate that at least. Whole thing. They have a little goodbye thing. She get the text message like, oh, they found my dad. Apparently his parents live in the same place. I'm like, you 20. Yeah, I mean, it's not that damn old. You act like, I was like, it's not that difficult. Google existed, friend. Like, it's not, whatever. They do the whole thing. He already knows, but now she's realizing like, oh, I can't travel because I have to stay here.
Right.
Basically, they say goodbye. And she brings it because she was like, "Oh, are we gonna ever see each other again?" He was like, "Yeah." No, he was like, "For sure, we're gonna see each other again."
This part
And
pissed
she
me
was
off
like,
too a little
"But
bit, but
your
it's
whole
fine.
ass granddaughter, you just left." That's not what she said word for word. What she did though? Your whole ass granddaughter just got left into the dust.
Right, but and he's like, yeah, whatever, that's my mistake. But you I will see again because you changed me.
Like, so I'm
And
gonna
I
come back
was
because I
like,
think what I put in the notes, but I believe this was the whole arc or the like crux of what they're trying to get at this season, whatever.
I literally hate all of it.
But it's so many things that were said and done. So that was the end. Oh wait, no, it's not the end because remember how Miss Lady, she was like watching over Cherry and she was talking that shit, and I said, "Bitch, don't you ever talk to my homegirl like this, okay?" Anyway, right before the dusting, she was like, "Do you pray?" And Cherry, like, "Of course I pray. Like, be so serious." She was like, "Tell your maker." Wait, I wrote this because I said, "This is crazy." Tell your maker, I will come to storm down his gates of gold and seize his kingdom in my true name. She not even
I said, we are getting a little too specific.
Who?
What
So
is
that
happening?
happens when the dusting happens. That she goes lays next to Cherry. They just turns to dust. And I'm like, okay, your energy is very confusing. So let's start with that. But then when they undust the reversing, she's like, "Yay, we made it! Now the actual bullshit I was here for is gonna happen." I'm like, okay, that's fine. And then to top it off, she at the very, very end, she got her Mary Poppins swag on. She got her little umbrella. She's gonna do whatever she's gonna do. And she's like, "Oh, that's how Ruby's story, ends." But the doctor story don't end like that. His story ends in absolute terror, is what she says. While she is, I think, on a roof in all white with a fucking umbrella. I'm like, lady, where are we going?
I'm telling you, she's giving Ice Queen. It's all giving Narnia.
What's so weird is like it's so confusing because I don't know if she is with I don't know if she a bit I don't know if she bad because when she was talking to Terry, she was like it was sinister, but then she was also like, "Yeah, we made it," and I'm also like, "Ma'am, what? Can we level? Like, let's level that because I don't know what the energy."
I was like, first of all, don't you touch her until you get her fucking teeth. Like, we have not forgotten.
Don't even. I don't even know why you own this roof.
There was no reason for you to be playing in her face before and then trying to be cool. No, go die on your own in the kitchen.
Made no sense, but it compelled me though. That's what the mind said, but that's also true. I was like, fine, Mary Poppins, ready to start some shit. Let's go. Let's get to whatever that is. And I'm like, whatever. So that's the recap. That was the whole episode.
I mean, whatever it is, it's got to be better than the whole season we just wasted.
Amani says, for context, this was the second time they had her wearing the clothes of a former companion. So that styling was very intentional. Oh, I didn't peep because I just was. By that point in the episode, I said, this is fine. But also, I did the thing I was saying, I was like, if anybody was going to be Susan, I feel like it would be this lady. Because Susan has a reason to feel a way about the doctor you got left. According to Ruby just said it. You was left in the dust. You was left. And also, presumably has some regeneration or whatever. So could have literally just been like going through it through several cycles. And just like, I'm ready to cause havoc. Oh, granddaddy, I'm going to fuck your life up today. But who can say? Who can say? So that was the recap, and also we gave a little. You got the gist of the energy that we were bringing to this. But like, let's talk about. Let's do Cherry's chai. Let's talk about the things that were strong because I feel like that'll be very fast, and then we can get to what we really need to get into. DJ says, "I will return. I will come back." All right, I have a strong. Because remember last episode, I said, "Why did you take doing all that carrying on, all that talking?" That motherfucker said, and it was a wrap. Dusted. I said, that's what I'm talking about. I appreciate to just get into the shit. Let's not play these games. That's strong just because I said, why you come out here having a monologue? Come out here and kill these people if that's what you came out here to do. That's all I'm saying. And Tutek said, don't trip, bitch. let me just say my little shit and I'm about to do the thing. So fine. I'm gonna give you that because that's what I said. I said let's get to the shit. Another strong, but this is the strong of the season, which is Shooty being a fantastic actor and being so incredibly talented that like the script says the doctor is upset and he's like, oh, I gotta really show the people what the fuck going on because you know he putting way more into it than what is described on that script. He had to be because they ain't shit on that script. It can't be because what's happening. So like elevating, he's been doing it the whole season, which we have noted pretty much every episode. It's like, oh, this probably would not even be as entertaining as it is if it was not a lesser actor. But this episode, I was like, he's like, I'm gonna pull it out. I don't care what the fuck they talk about. I don't care what the script is doing. I'm gonna pull it out. So, shout out. Like lip tremble, we got lip trembles. We got the single man tear. We got all of it. We got the whole gambit. Okay, we got the whole gambit. So, very strong, very very strong. I think that's it. I was like, that one target shot, extremely strong. Because I just thought it was cool. It looked like it's a room in a house. It looked like it's a part of the domicile. I just thought it looked cool. I was like, look at this. Look at this lovely little simple shot. I love it. So I'm going to give them that because I want to make sure we have an even, that we're being fair. Now, have you thought of a strong or are you ready to go to the stuff?
I'm really thinking.
I mean, you can add one if you think on it.
No,
but if you had to think that hard.
Well, because I'm trying to remember, there was one moment I remember being like, oh, there was like a timey-wimey kind of moment, but I'm looking back at my notes and I can't. I think it was just sort of the whole making the second TARDIS from memory.
Yeah, the remember TARDIS.
Like I like that whole sequence. I like I said last time, everything happening with the time window and just like the sci-fi of it all. And so that was one of the moments that was like, and it was cute.
And then did it call back to, like, I like how they answered the question of the first episode, like, if time is memory, what is a time machine? And then this one is like repeating it, but then like answering the question.
Repeated the line, like, because that was one of the lines I wrote last episode. So that
period. That's a strong one y'all did it.
Yes, exactly. Bonnie was acting down, like it was just very cool. And then the TARDIS had little pieces from like other doctors. So that was I think what I appreciated the most.
That was cute. I can't fully.
It was fan service that I appreciated.
I was about to say it's fan service that I couldn't fully appreciate because I don't know. I can't remember all of them, but I know it's something for everybody in there. Like I know somebody's going. Their thing is probably in that phase, right? So I do love that. I think that's really cute. And in general, okay, another strong is that we've already talked about it of Mel being like having that older companion return. But I also just love how it don't feel like fan service because they make her a part of the story in a way that like a lot of times it's like they still here, they ain't eating treats, we love it, and then kind of not like it doesn't matter. But I feel like Mel becomes a part of the driving of the story forward. So I like that. So that's good. Y'all can have that one. That's a good thing.
Also, there were multiple shout outs to the Oods, which
we love Oods.
We love
the Ood kind. And because the Ood just be minding their fucking business trying to be out here being cute and people stay playing in their faces.
And especially when we didn't get episodes like that this season, I was like, yes, does that mean we're gonna get more in future? Because that's what I want. Give me the actual
give me like the aliens, give me like the like just the different cultures and like tell these all these political points through story. Like actually give me a story where I have to think about these things. That's supposed to be like capitalism fucked up, ain't it? And you be like, okay, well, we've established that. Now what are you gonna do for 47 minutes? But it's fine. So you already know what this is. Weak. What was weak? Again, my note says plot ? Because I feel like here's the thing. It's Doctor Who. Doctor Who doesn't necessarily have to make sense, but it had to feel like it makes sense in the moment. That's the thing. Like Muppet don't make sense, but when you first watch them, you're like, oh, he did it. And then you think about it, you're like, that didn't make sense. This didn't make sense in the moment. Like, everything that was happening in the moment, I said, that don't fucking make sense. Like, it didn't make sense at any point. So it became a situation where I couldn't even lean into it because I'm like, that just does not, it don't make sense even with your established parameters.
The time to be like, how much time do we have left and where is this going? And like, I was just like so confused the entire time.
It was just like, it was just very fucking silly, but not in a fun, silly way. It's like the undoing of the thing. There's no reasonable explanation. They don't explain it and they don't make it. It's like a tear. We see the tear. What does this mean? So what is this supposed to mean to me? Because first I was like, okay, it's giving my face like the little crack in face. I said, okay, that's cute. But then somehow that brought everybody back. I said, okay, fine, whatever.
I mean, in that part, fine. I can like I did not. I thought the whole like death plus death equals life. I was like, that makes no sense.
I was like, fine.
But
Two negatives make a positive. Fine.
You're gonna undo the stuff. Fine. What I am still confused about, and this is my question for you, like sort of in all of the things that were happening just for plot, or all of the things they were saying just to say shit, what is still confusing to you? And for me, or maybe y'all could clarify this for me here now. Was Sutek causing the snow?
No, the snow was just memory. I think
we ended up on the like Ruby's parents are just normal.
I mean, maybe he was like maybe he was unintentionally because he also apparently had a very strong
like his investment.
That's what I'm saying. Right. So perhaps is always the answer, but it's especially the answer today. Like that is a good read. That is a read that at least brings it together a little bit because it's like I was just like.
Just because the doctor made such a big deal about it in the episodes leading up, like he was, I've never seen anything in all of space time like the snow that comes down when she gets emotional. And I'm just like, you can't be doing all that.
Yeah, like we were attaching it to Ruby, but it was probably Sutek being also confused.
No, Amani, don't do that. Don't do that now. Amani, talk about we still haven't met Ruby's father. I need Ruby to be done. I need this whole Ruby thing. I cannot do.
I just can't. I
cannot do her father is special, blah, 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 blah. No, I'm done. Because the two things I was like, I don't understand the snow and I don't understand the whole like Carol of the Bells. But again, it seems like, okay, these are things from Ruby's memory. That's fine. Her baby memory
infant
of being dropped memory.
Off. That's fine. That was also not music playing in universe when she getting dropped off. Like, let's be clear. The mom ain't like dropping the baby off.
I mean, maybe after she leaves, they run it through bell practice. That's fine. I can accept that. I love me a Carol of the Bells. Fine. I'm just like, what is the thing that's making it come out? Like Sutek's interest.
Let's just say we're gonna say that so we can make this make sense for us and for everybody else. Let's just say that because Sutek got personally invested in the situation, he's like, I don't know what the hell going on. He's been the same way that like Ruby has been like
he's like
focused on it, with her being in the TARDIS and he's witnessing and feeling and all that. They dropped the ball on Sutek because they alluded multiple times to like the idea of him being influenced in some way by the experience of being attached to the TARDIS, right? Like, even with his own little minions, when they bring the Doctor and Ruby back after getting the, like, whatever, the DNA scan, and the minion is like, yes, now we brought them here, you could kill the last two people, then you could rule over your little desolate ass, broke down, fucked up ass universe. Like, it was just very point and felt very much like acknowledging like you won't be doing this by yourself. You'll be alone. You will not have shit. That was his own minion saying that. Like, you gonna be alone. So I was thinking like, okay, maybe it's a situation where through experiencing this whatever, he has a longing, like a wanting to be with people. Like, damn, maybe I want to kill every motherfucker. Like, maybe I want to keep somebody alive. Like, I thought it was gonna be something. They just dropped the ball. I was like, oh, y'all really just ain't about to have him it's fine. Villains don't have to grow or have to change, but you actually allude to it so very much and have him grasp into the TARDIS for dear life, and you have multiple people reference the fact that he's experienced, or you know what I mean? Like, oh, that's not, like the Doctor said something in the last episode, like, oh, you that sounds like once or whatever he says. And then this episode multiple times.
Well, in this one, the doctor asked him, "Why am I alive?" Then seems to assume that Sutek is doubting killing the doctor for some reason, and the doctor's like, "That feeling you feel, isn't that the most alive you've ever felt?"
But that's what I'm saying.
I'm
They
like,
just like
"What?"
keep
I don't understand what's going on.
alluding
And
to
then
it.
2, later in the episode, when they're just like, "Oh, Sutek just wants to know the answer to this
riddle
mystery," so then everything the doctor was talking about was wrong. Like, I'm just like, what?
I don't. This is why I said it feels to me like they literally had a story and they had stuff they had recorded and like already filmed that went with whatever that version of it is, and then they changed the conclusion. So a lot of the things that would have made sense, something had to happen. It didn't make sense to me in a way. And like I said, one of my previous things, like I have still faith because I think Russell is good at pulling shit together, meaning that it like I take that shit back. I was wrong. I can say that I have no ego about it. Oh, I was very fucking wrong. And I will never give a white man grace. Never again, because
every clip this season of Nick being like,
he gotta get it. Because that's one thing, like, he gonna get, like, that was like the best part of the earlier seasons is that, like, you would watch that whole season. And then when you rewatch, you're like, oh my God, like this is such a good thing. Like every season, like all of his seasons have that. The whole first 4 seasons have really good, like, follow through. And this is, I'm like, are you being so fucking serious right now about what we're doing? Because it's now this is it's a strong and a weak. I like that Ruby's mom is a nobody. It's like just an ordinary person out in the streets. I love that. But and it's like, oh, she's important because we think she's important. But I don't like that part. Because I first and foremost the whole time I was like, I don't give a fuck about this lady. So let's be clear, y'all think she's important. I don't think other people thought she was important. You thought she was like, don't put that evil on us, Ricky Bobby. Nobody else was like reading that much into her. Even if they was, it's because you kept telling them to do so. Like, nope, don't do that. So it's one of those things where they like the gotcha, but it's not a gotcha if you the one that like made it. Like it don't work. It ain't like you supplanting our expectations and we were just like, oh shit, like we shouldn't assume these things. The whole time I'm like, why are we making these assumptions? I don't understand this entire framing of this situation. So when it finally happened, I'm like, this is what I'm talking about. Like I can see, I don't want to see the manipulation. That's the thing. I don't want to see you manipulating me to feel a certain way, so that by the time y'all have this reveal, it's like she's just a normal person. I can see that amount of
also didn't work though.
I was like, whatever. But I like that she's normal. I'm glad that it doesn't make Ruby special in the sense of like she ended up being a demigod or some kind of whatever. I like the double down of like this is a human person who just had a human parents and just had a fantastical like origin story, whatever. I just don't understand so many of the directions that happen this season that feel they don't feel necessary to the story. But what I wrote in my notes is I think this is the crux of the season, and what I think the whole thing basically getting the doctor to the place where going backward is now an option. That's the only point of the season to me. But that's what I realized, or that's what I thought was the takeaway because of how he talks about what he says about Ruby. Is like, before I met you, you changed me. And I don't think it's her being special. I think it's her looking for her family and him understanding through her how much that connection means. That he's like having that connection with people is important, right? Like I think he's so used to those fleeting, or not fleeting. I don't know. We don't know time. He could be spending 8 to 10 years with him. We don't know really because of timey-wimey, but like having fleeting relationships with people and now being like, I can actually go back. I can continue relationships. I can, which is again building off of the way we leave 14 and Donna's family. I think that's the whole thing. Is like the doctor can go backward.
That's one of the other,
which is cool because I like they spend the time with Mel.
I'm still confused about because he has the whole moment where he's like, you know, I swear with the two hearts of the last Time Lord or whatever, you know, that I'm gonna defeat you. And I was like, okay, I'm still confused about the bi generation. So are at this point, are we assuming 14 is not out here anymore? Are they still the last time? Because he was just talking to Rose about 14, right? So it was weird. Or I guess he's just assuming that 14 got in the dust. Like he's the last because everything else.
So like maybe at that, when he says it, in that moment, yeah.
Right.
That's what we're going to have to say. Because, yeah, otherwise it literally undermines everything, especially his own words, not 30 minutes ago.
There's at least 4 hearts out here, I thought.
Oh, like we just had to, you just asked about 14. Like I heard it. So, but, yeah, that was my main takeaway. And it's like, it makes it easier for me to like let this rock. Like before the season, I don't know that he would have thought, oh, leaving Susan was a mistake, right? Because he's not thinking about the person left behind. Through Ruby, I think he's.
Is that true though?
I mean, he's been confronted with it before, but he didn't live with it. He's been confronted with it and like, oh, I see Sarah Jane after years. She cuts me the fuck out. She called my new companion a little hussy. No, playing. She didn't do all that. But the point is, it was a whole tense thing of like, you left us behind, like you do that. But a lot of that conversation happens without the doctor. You know what I mean? Like we, as the audience, have the conversation with the companions, and they have them with each other. You know, it's like companions talk to each other. Yeah, he left me. That was crazy. Or like they have the little support group at the end of the last. You know what I mean? So like it's not a conversation that's not happening. It's just not a conversation he's always a part of. This is the one time where he's like actively applying it to his own experience. Like looking at Ruby and be like, damn. Like it's not the same. It's not a 1-for-1, but it's a very similar thing of like the person you leave behind. You're now like they're missing. Like you're missing from their life. Like you have to think about like how that affects them. I don't know. I just took that as him being changed by just being with her, not necessarily like her being special, but just experiencing her story with her and then like applying that to his Susan, to like his other companions. I think that's what they were trying to do. I don't think they did it effectively or did it in a way that like there were such better ways I think to get there. They didn't think through or like really sit with like the different ways you could tell the story given the stuff they set up. And I'm like, y'all just chose, I feel like
well, because I don't think that was their intention. Like, I think all they wanted to do was make some friggin' moral point about having babies.
I don't really even know.
You know, part of what we were talking about in our group was like the presentation of this 15-year-old child carrying through this pregnancy. One is the best option for that child, which it may not have been, right? Like, so completely dismisses like abortion as even a subject here. Like you said, they don't mention the abuse by name of the stepfather, whatever form that abuse took. They make it seem like the having the baby was without question, and then like the sort of dropping off the baby in the way that it was done.
That is a horrible, like, I want to be clear about this. I think that politic was horrible. That whole thing was crazy.
But it seems like there's a very specific politic that is like intentionally being shared here, which is so weird and confusing to me.
I mean, I wouldn't even mind it if you were
both in relation to the other random political points they've been dropping, but then also just like it feels, I don't know. It feels really messed up for the moment that we're in with like reproductive rights. And confused. It's they've been making all these political and religious points
that don't make sense
this whole season. And then they revert to a politic that is so steeped in this very specific type of like Christian religious thought that is like fascinating to me. It could have just been that oh, she dropped her off, you know, at a shelter somewhere else, but no, they made it a church. They made it a church. They made this whole season revolve around like religion and like church aesthetic and like all of these things. Why?
I didn't personally think that they handled that whole story and throughout, not just the end, but I didn't think the whole story, like we talked about it throughout the season. There were several points where like they kept being weird about stuff. Like it was like adoption's real family, but then at every turn you undercut that. And then you have Ruby say, my real mom, when she finally meets this lady who chose, because mind you, this lady been grown. Like the lady, she got a degree. She a nurse. She at the cafe. She fucking chilling like a villain. She's fine, right? So then you make it seem like, I don't know, whatever. So the adoption part to me is already messy, and I don't love it, but I also can't speak to the experience. But that the whole adoption from the point of the parent, the mom, is crazy to me. And I think it's wild that y'all would just drop that in this episode, uninterrogated. Have like Kate, who I think would have.
I don't think it's uninterrogated. I think it's
I mean,
intentional.
that's what I mean, though. Like, but like having
pushing...
like it doesn't even make sense to me for the like characters. Like Kate being like, oh yeah, she was like they did earlier. She was probably a young woman. They exceeded that, so it was like, oh, whatever. But then to have Kate be like, oh, she was 15. The record show that she had, like, her stepfather was about that bullshit. So, you know, it was probably for the best for her to. I'm like, first off, you are saying, listen to what you're saying. This Rose is like, oh, she must have hit the pregnancy. So several things have happened. This 15-year-old child was pregnant, had a whole
successfully hid a pregnancy
child because it wasn't
from everyone.
The baby went left at the hospital, which would have been also a thing, right? Like the mom has a baby, leaves before they can get any information because they don't want the baby or whatever. Don't want their family to know, whatever. No, this has a whole entire baby. Somebody delivers this baby. Somebody cleans up this baby. This baby.
Nobody at school knew.
Fine.
The little boy didn't know.
In a snowstorm, like it's snowing. They practicing their carols over there, so it's imprinted on everybody. This Jingle Bell, whatever the song is, you know what it's called. This happens. She drops the baby off in the snow. She don't knock on the church door. She just leave the baby in the snow, then point to a sign. She's like, they gonna check the CCTV for sure, because that's the thing they do. Is what she said. This 15-year-old child. Point to the... And the people who watch the CCTV, who are undoubtedly not the people who actually picked up the baby. Let's be like, the police probably checked the CCTV. The church fucking didn't. But the police thought it was important for the church to know that she pointed at that sign and said, I think that they wanted to name that baby Ruby. What I think. Kiss my ass. Go to hell. That's fucking stupid. It's stupid anyway. But then also, she's 15, and you think her having a baby and dropping him off in the snow is a better choice than, I don't know, the abortion pill or...
I mean, that is the thing that makes sense for I'm not makes sense, but like that I could understand the 15-year-old impulsiveness of that choice. But to say that's the best possible outcome for you, right?
Like you said, Kate said, oh, she made you safe. No, she literally dropped her off in the fucking snow. The snow. It's not warm. That baby could, you know how fast a baby can get hypothermia? Like an adult human can get hypothermia.
And also the fact that Ruby ended up with Carla and Cherry is like a fact of right. Like the assumption that like adoption is also always safe is like
right.
Right. And
that's
so
what
again,
I'm saying. You don't choose.
What is the politics that we're sharing here?
Everything about it upsets me. But like,
what are we saying?
I'm like, now you don't want to tell this story. You don't want to be like, oh, a 15-year-old in a presumably abusive household, because that's what is implied, but they don't say, oh, he's into things. Okay. Enough that she felt like she had to hide a baby and then drop it off unbeknownst.
And successfully was able to, I guess.
I'm like, it just makes me mad because it's also
I'm like, why not just take herself to the church as the, like, why, you know, apparently she didn't get out too.
She's like, But it's like, to me, it's justifying.
It wasn't a runaway situation.
Like, justifying or excusing her giving Ruby up. And the thing is, for me, is what I really, really wanted was for the show to be like, some people just don't want to have kids. Like, and they just give them, she don't have to be a 15-year-old. It could be a 21-year-old that got a degree,
right?
That got whatever, and just was like, I don't want to do this. And this is my silly decision of like, oh, it's a church, it'll be fine, whatever. It's the fact that they try to like, they spend enough time with it so that we just like can be like, oh, she was just and they say it, oh, she was just a scared child. She was just a scared child. She took the baby and dropped her off. That's what she did. Like, I think the little girl was doing a whole lot of plotting and planning. I feel like if you understand, if she's, you can't like be like, this is a child who's just doing child shit, but also
especially
this person was able to
for them not to be able to trace her. Right? Clearly, this is not a church in her community. She was plotting, which is the other thing. You can't just drop a baby off and have nobody be like, who's
right? Like that's what I'm saying. They make it like
she clearly went somewhere that was not her home community to
it was
drop this child off.
I'm just saying she clearly was capable of some level of long-term planning. So you can't also say like this person who had this very, very well thought out plan for this baby. She said, "I'm gonna drop her off. I'm gonna point to the sign." Like it was a whole thing. So it's weird. Like it happens. Young women have children. Kids have children. But it's like you just like you needed to make the story happen. But you like, I'm gonna do every dumb fucking thing I can think of to get to the place where this baby can drop off to church. Could a little bit anything. It would have been better to me if it wasn't the mama. I really wanted it to be like somebody who knew the mama was like, I just dropped the baby off because they gave. I just knew the baby wasn't gonna be safe, and then I just did that and I left because I didn't want to be involved. Like whatever, which is not great, but it's better than the mom had this 9-month plan. I don't know. Everything about it upset me. I was like, I can't plan it, and I was like, I cannot wait, and I really do want to hear from people who on both. Honestly, I want to hear from adoptees and people who have experienced, especially people who have had like relationships with their birth parents after the fact, because I feel like that's a specific experience. But also, I'm very curious, like people who have given up children for whatever reason. Like if you was a young person that just like, I don't think this is for me, or whatever the situation. Like I want to know what them people think, because I personally haven't experienced it, but I feel offended on their behalf just because something about it just feels so. It just don't feel right. I can't explain it. It doesn't feel right to me. Something about it's like a weird, yucky feeling. Wait a minute, Brittany, have you not watched the episode? She said, "Did Susan turn out to be that lady? Which lady? I don't know what lady.
I think
but
she maybe means Miss Flood. We still
don't know who Mrs. Flood is. But Susan was basically all those iterations we were seeing of her throughout the season was created by Sutek. The God of Death made life. Made a lot of life, because apparently he dropped a Susan off everywhere at every place they landed. You know how many Susans that is? Because let the doctor tell it.
That's what I was like. We ain't seen it till now. We ain't noticed her till now. Okay.
Because it was the perception filter. That's the 73 yards. That's what they said. That's what they said. I didn't say it. That's what they said. He said the TARDIS has a perception filter. I forgot what he said. Like, 67 meters. And then Ruby was like, that's like 73 yards. He was like, yeah, how did you know that? She's like, I just knew. So they just gonna like let that whole episode be a thing that may or may not have influenced her. It clearly influenced her because she on multiple occasions references it, but not directly. So she don't remember it. She just has a vibe about it, which is fine, because I have a vibe about it too. And yeah, Rebecca brings up a great point, and this is like the part that was irritating me throughout the season, but really pissed me off in the end when she said my real mother. Basically, because like the series doesn't interrogate why Ruby is desperate to find her birth mother, and just assume that would be the natural or obvious thing to want. Like that's my thing. They make a point earlier on to be like, I love the family I have. I'm happy here. Wanting to find my mom is more of a curiosity thing, to now it being like a desperate, like I have to know. And also that shift, and maybe that's just Ruby, because I came to the conclusion about 3 episodes ago, I don't actually think Ruby's a great person. At the point where I was like, I don't actually know that she's a good person. And not to say you're a bad person for wanting stuff.
It's a 19-year-old.
But it's more like the fickleness of like literally being like, now I've met this woman, this white woman, let's be clear. This woman, and she's my real mom. You know what I mean? It was the shift. Because not like it was so easy to say my birth mom. A lot of people say bio mom, birth mom. These are things I've heard people do to refer to their person who birthed them, separate from their mom or their dad. Like some people are like, they're my dad. And then they're like my bio dad because they were raised with a stepdad or whatever. Like I hear that so much in different mixed families. So the fact that she specifically said my real mom, the people that raised her was right out that door.
In the other room.
Hanging out with her. Letting her into their house. Letting her into their home to say, this is like, you are part of, welcome her into their family. But Ruby sees her as you know what I mean? Like, and I get it, because I think if I didn't know who my birth parent was and I found them, I would be like, do you like? I want to be found with you. If that's the thing you want to do, right? But the way this episode or this whole season, really, but the way this episode specifically
it's just
put
so
the
harmful.
pin on it was just, it to me felt nasty. It's just like, I don't like how it, I don't like it for the fact that like Carla and Sherry, who have been nothing but like supportive of her journey to find the person that birthed her, still feel like they are being pushed to the side in a way that I don't like. But it's also like there are a lot of adoptees who, I don't know, I just felt like, oh, we're just gonna make it nice, like a nice little bow, and not, I don't know, it just, I don't know. Some it's just a lot. It's a lot of.
Well, and I also don't like it because part of it is that it feels like they're using it as a plot device to contrast the doctor, right? And to sort of like underscore his loneliness as a foundling with an abusive parent who now is even gone. Like, even if the doctor wanted to try and remake that relationship, he's the last of the Time Lords, right? And so, like, part of what it's like, I feel like they did it poorly and they only did it to kind of like up empathy for the doctor in a way that wasn't needed. Like, people can, I hope, empathize with that story enough. It's very ridiculous that we would need to have like a whole arc of another adoptee finding their birth family and being loved and accepted by both families and abandoning the doctor to still feel in the fact that the doctor
it wasn't
is
done well,
quote alone in the universe. Like,
no, you're right. It just like it literally was so poorly done, and like several, again, I think it's one of those things like a tweak here, a tweak there, a tweak here, a tweak there, and you can have a nice solid. It was multiple really stupid fucking choices made. They were small in there by themselves, but then they culminate to like this one really just unsatisfying conclusion. And it's like, what makes it more unsatisfying is that you drew my attention to it. You made the point of me to focus on these things, and then now I focus on them, waiting for you to like follow through in some way, and you just be like, she was just a young lady that had a baby, which is, again, I actually love that conceptually of like, sometimes shit happens, right? Like people just leave the babies, whatever. I don't actually, it's not important to me why she left. I mean, it's important to me that she left her in the snow and then not gonna know, because that's just wild ass behavior for anybody, I think. But like, who does this? This is very cartoon behavior. But either way, a lot of the stuff that they made important wasn't important, and the stuff that they could have made important, they didn't. And it's like, I don't know what you want me to take from this. On top of the whole, like, even the whole Sutek thing, to me is like wasted potential, because that could have been really fucking cool, right? Like, it was cool in the first episode. We don't know what's about to happen. Like oh, right, like lit, and then like immediately not,
and they just didn't.
Like, immediately not. Like y'all just went to these weird places, but most of it was, there was such an obvious better choice in every moment. That's the thing.
And to have the solution to him be the same solution as last, I was just like, this is so lazy. Why do you even bring him back just to do this?
Time vortex again, but this time I'm gonna make sure he dead. Like, okay. And maybe it's gonna be a consequence. Maybe like people don't die no more. Maybe like people just live forever now, and that's the new problem. Everybody's immortal to death and dead. So now we gotta figure that out. But they're not gonna do that.
The Mrs. Flood moment at the end, as much as she annoyed me with Cherry, I'm like, this is the one thing that's got me like interested or invested for the next season, because this idea of like, oh, the absolute terror that the doctor's going to go through, blah blah blah. Just moving forward, I'm glad that they gave us a piece to look forward to, because I feel very like underwhelmed with the Ruby arc of it all. And like,
I have now what I think this series was not good about any of the politics introduced. Let's say that, like, any politics introduced, it didn't do well. They didn't do one of them well. Nope. So it was messy. It was muddled. It didn't really feel like you said anything. You said nothing. The whole pro anti-technology. Wow. Literally pro anti, because you are both saying that these are things that are horrible and like fuck up humanity, but also these are things that humanity need. Like, whatever. very
and
weird,
it's inevitable.
right? And these very weird politics about tech, the people who make tech, how we use tech, but never really nothing that's like you don't make a stance on it. You just show us different ways that this is applied. Fine, whatever. Okay, so that was weird. That was just a weird politics. Then you have the weird they always do capitalism. They love capitalism. Doctor Who always wants to talk shit about capitalism. Never really does much. Be like, damn, capitalism ain't shit. Cool, we got it. We agreed that capitalism ain't shit. Thank you for reiterating. They don't in any way address the capitalism or like try to have a conversation about what it could look like or show us a version of the world or the universe where that doesn't make it right. Like let's do one. There gotta be one planet where we're like, let's just try something different, just for a little, just for a treat. Like they don't do it. Whatever. At least,
or even like UNIT interrogated in its place, right? Because that's literal like military industrial complex, which is where most of the money from capitalism goes.
It's just like UNIT as a whole thing.
Who paid for your little time window?
I don't know. I have so many thoughts about UNIT that's like it could be its own episode. Because first off, they have alien technology. They have all of this access, funding, resources, and they using fucking pistols for every and all things. Why are y'all pulling out guns? I don't know if this is meant to be a dig at somebody. Like, oh, every time something go down, weapons go out. And I know, like an old school UNIT, like in the classic, they pulled out the rifles. That's what the fuck they weapons were. It was the 60s, okay? They had rifles. But now, UNIT is several.
You said where are the lasers?
Right, like anything, like you telling me all these resources, all y'all can still resort to, like your first line of defense is a motherfucker with a gun? Are you so serious? You saying that in 2024? That's a wild ass thing to consistently have as like I understand it that like UNIT
honestly
human,
no.
But it doesn't actually go with what UNIT is, and we see they show us all these resources and tools, but every time some pop off, their first instinct is to go for a pencil. Like I just feel like how many times have you not been able to do your job with a pencil and you would stop going for the pencil first? Because I'm personally, I'm not gonna keep going for the gun situation. It ain't never worked. The whole time I've been working here, I'm not gonna fucking do it. I'm gonna carry it because I have to, because y'all issued that bitch. I'm not going to the pistols no more. UNIT pissed me off, so not pissed me off, it's just weird to me. I feel like it's like they give very much, and maybe that's the point for them to give like beat caught with the donut in the coffee, like very like cliche. But y'all keep introducing new levels to UNIT to make it seem like you want to elevate them past that. But then anytime something pop off, they turn back to beat cops, right? Like they turn back to just like I got my pistol. It's just funny to me, so it makes me mad. But like so. The whole UNIT military industrial complex thing, the whole religion thing, which I'm still unclear on pro or anti, just like with the tech thing. What is the stance they were taking? Because it feels like you're pro, given everything else. You're just like, oh, religion is whatever. It's like, wow, that people have religion, but then like religion serves a function. It's like, okay, all these are valid, but that you ain't saying. You just saying the arguments. You're not making an argument. Like you're not So it's all that, and then it's obviously the whole, I would say, reproductive conversation, because it's not just adoption, and it's not just because space babies. That's that whole conversation, and they made a point. Right. They made a point about it, because there are so many ways to tell the exact story that didn't have to be what it was. They could have just been there because of a technology failure. Like, oh, we can't get back to the planet. They can't get to us because of XYZ. It didn't have to be what it was. You made the politics. You added that to it. So why? For what? What is to what?
Well, and even Boom, right? And the idea of the like killing people because it takes too much, it costs too much money to save them, or like this or that. And then this episode with the DNA registry, like you're doing all these different things with reproduction and eugenics and like DNA, but also not making a clear statement one way or the other.
You're not making a stance. So you're just introducing it as a thing that exists, which is like cool. Cause like I don't know if we said it in the episode. We might have, but for space babies, I think it definitely was in our agenda. I can't remember if we actually talked about the fact that like they definitely were making a eugenics conversation, but they were not being explicit. Okay. But like surely you could have intervened in other ways. just subtly, maybe. I don't want to make you a part of it, but like,
yeah,
whatever. But also the doctor is like, yeah, I was here when boop boop boop. So you let him make this DNA registry?
Well, he literally said he made the
he
tech.
made the tech and was there. So like, why would you wait to intervene? What was you fucking doing?
And I was like, what?
What were you fucking doing? Because he was there. It sounded to me like he was the intern. Like he was. So yeah, the doctor may or may not be complicit in several things. Like we know the doctor be doing shit, but it's like wow to like add that in. You could have not said it in the fucking flight. What is the doctor doing here? Why didn't he stop the bullshit? Because very clearly this is like a crazy thing for like a country to do, to like catalog DNA and also apparently collect nuclear codes. It's a lot happening that apparently does not get stopped. And yeah, Monty says I took it to mean that the tech the British government used was based on his design. Like probably got it from Unit. Not that he specifically designed it for that. Fact, but he did say he was there. That's the thing. Like earlier, before they walk into the room, I remember it because I noted it the first night. I said, And I watched it today. He's like, I was here when boop boop boop, and I was like, you was there, and this shit still occurred. Like, even if it was after they took the DNA samples, you could have deleted the DNA or whatever. So he was definitely there, even if that technology was not specifically that.
Oh, this is the worst prime minister ever. This is the worst prime minister ever. At no point in any of those other times did he mention
posting up like a baby.
Like, or even interrogate. They were like, maybe you shouldn't be giving humans random ass tech if it's going to be used.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I felt like I agree with Amani on that one. I think it was just saying that like this is just tech that they've had like for a while. My thing was he said he was there up in the room where it happened. So you was just letting people collect mass surveillance on people, like you know, like collect DNA on everybody, and not only that, because you seem to talk about it like you thought this was a bad prime minister, but then at the same time you was like just okay with
right.
Where was your line at?
It's like Space Babies when he's just like, it's a baby farm, and we're like, what? What the hell is it?
Like, okay, the fucking.
What do you mean?
Where they? Yeah, where the babies are in space. Fine. So yeah, the whole season was a mess. But like, in the good parts of the season, don't make up for the bad parts of the season. And it's like one of those one. I don't know if I want to rewatch the season. Usually, I can tell pretty quickly that like, oh, or like. Chibnall say a lot about Chibnall. A lot of his episodes are actually fun by themselves. Like I could just turn on the Chibnall episode and I actually genuinely like it. Like, did he do an arc? Did he know what an arc was? Perhaps not. Perhaps not. But if I turn them episodes on, generally the individual episodes are still entertaining to me. Mainly because there is no arc. I don't have to think about where it fits into a story, whatever, or what it feeds into. Because he apparently was like, we're not doing arcs today. Which is fine. It's kind of actually fine. But like, these are episodes, like, very few of them. Every episode, I was like, maybe the next episode is gonna make this episode feel better. That's how it was. Like every like the first episode, not Church of Ruby Road, but the actual like the first season episode was like cute, right? Like it was like, oh, no problem. That's Space Babies, right? I'm getting the order mixed up. Yeah, it was Space Babies, then the musical one, right? Were those the first two? Either way.
I think then boom. I think
no, the first two, like remember the first two came the same night. I think it was Space Babies and I don't remember. And that's how you know. This is how you know because it ain't even but 8 episodes and I don't remember the order. But yeah, so the first two were cute, but I didn't have no feeling. I didn't have no strong like attachment to either of the episodes. Then it was boom, which I liked from a entertainment perspective, even though from a story perspective, I was like, okay. But I could watch it if I didn't think about it, which is the entirety of my tenure on this show. The more I think about it, the less I can watch it. So I try not to. And by boom, it was like, okay, now what are we fucking doing? Like, what are we doing? Like, it only ended up being one genuinely fun episode, which is Rogue. Like, that's the only episode I feel like I want to revisit. The other ones, like, I might revisit the first, like, 4 episodes, maybe. Because they're not offensive. They probably are in retrospect. We're going to watch it and be like, oh, I was wrong. Whatever. But, like, they're fine. But this whole second half is like, damn, y'all really just didn't do shit. It's not, but it's worse than, it's, the problem is that it's like so close to being not horrible. And so I don't know if I'm more mad that it's not like just straight, because if it was like straight fucking bad where it's like irredeemable, that would be worse, but it would be better. But being so close to being like tolerable, like every episode was so close to being good. Every episode was so fucking close to being like, oh, you almost had it. Like you fucking was then close to like not being this way. So I don't know. I think that might actually be worse because you didn't get there. I don't know. It was just, yeah. Brit is not having it. Like in our chat, Brit is like, all that time we spent looking for this lady and figuring out what she's trying to point out, and it's a street sign. Which is, again, wow. Even in universe, like, okay, that is a very specific choice. I don't think a 15-year-old would make that choice personally. That feels like an old person choice. That feels like an old. You see it. I don't think a 15-year-old. I think a 15-year-old would literally write a note, but and write might be too strong. Type a note, and that's another thing. Like it's 2004.
At the church on socials.
Like email thebabymama@aol.com. Hey, I would like that child you picked up today to be named Ruby. I pointed to the street sign, but just in case that wasn't clear to people, the baby name should be Ruby, I think.
POV, you left the baby in the snow. Cool. Quotes.
The only one we didn't say was, we fought a monster and now I must become a monster. And 15 says this in like talking about in reference to like having to kill Sutek. I like that he thinks about like, oh, if I commit a genocide against the Daleks, I'm also committing a genocide the same way they was committing genocide. That I understand. This is a thing I understand because that's true, because that's a whole entire race or a species that you are eliminating. I don't mind that kind of dilemma. This is one motherfucker who has literally mass genocided the entire universe. I think it's fair to say you're not a monster for eliminating that threat from the entire universe. Because you tried, it ain't even like you didn't give him a chance. This person been locked up twice, according to you. Because apparently he got free the first time you met him. You put him into the time vortex thinking, all right, he in prison for real this time. So I don't know. That quote made me mad because in other contexts, I love that the doctor has that dilemma. But in this context, I'm like, this is not a dilemma. You are not Kelly Rowland. Fucking kill this motherfucker. Like I don't know why we're doing this. Like I'm at the point of like being frustrated. I said being frustrated, baby. I was frustrated. They died, but like it's just like the whole thing with Dot and Bubble of like, at least with that, it's like young people. It's like I can still my hate against the side understand the frustration with not being able to save them. But this is the literal god of death who has literally killed untold trillions of people. Like I think it's fine. I honestly felt like Moffat shadow wrote this season. And I'm not saying because I think RTD.
Now don't pass the blame.
No, I'm not. No, well, I'm about to say, I think what I mean is that like the problems I have with Moffat, and the reason I used to like by clear distinction between these two showrunners was very much like Moffat just like to vibe it the fuck out, and none of his shit made sense and all this. And I thought RTD was really good with character, and so like I was invested. In this season, I'm not invested really. The plot was definitely the thing that occurred. It just felt more Moffat-y to me. So I'm like, they became became more like each other. And mine said, to be clear, he thought he killed him the first time when the fourth Doctor took him into the time vortex. That whole thing, maybe if you're deaf, I'm like, thing would have been cool in a different way, but it ended up being very like, shut your ass up. I said it like 3 times. So shut your ass up. What are you talking about? I said it like 3 times watching the episode. I literally said it. I'm like, y'all are literally just saying anything. And that could be cool. The Doctor being like the entity, or like the yin yang being the opposite side, which I think we talked about. Like that actually could be fun to like explore of like you are never ending. You kind of go on because death is never ending. Like having a counterbalance or whatever. But like then you killed death, brought back life. So apparently everybody's immortal now. So I think the next season is gonna be like, what happens if people live forever, but we still fucking got capitalism? That could be the next season. You heard it here, folks.
Listen, again, Rebecca, 100% agree with you here. Like, there is no consistency. It's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine.
They
But Rebecca says the doctor was more than happy for the children to suffer for 600 years for the crime of killing Ruby when, first of all, she put herself in that trap. There's that. That's
walked right
doctor
into
to
it.
me. So yeah, like we've seen these moments of him being able to like, I am gleeful at the thought of y'all being tortured
Right.
for hundreds of years. But now all of a sudden
I have to become a monster.
You gotta save the universe and you're
it's a whole thing.
Morally torn apart.
Or like you have to become a monster. Like you I think most people, like everybody who comes back to life is probably like, I think you're fine. Actually. Like you're not a monster because you killed a monster. I just don't know why they are that is a element of this doctor I'm not liking, and that like the doctor's always been morally like questioning whether the choice to like harm is like worth the harm that you're protecting from. And generally comes on the side of like, I will do what has to be done. But I feel like this version of the doctor is way more like, damn, I really gotta do it. Like, yeah, it's a little bit of murder. Calm down. Just do it. Like at this point, like I've been watching this show. You've done worse. Like that's my whole thing. Like, stop it. And you are very clear. You remember your past life. You are so connected to your previous incarnations in a way I think other doctors haven't necessarily been. Like you are so much aware of the history, which again goes back to I think the larger crux of like, oh, reconnecting with your past self. But it's like that means you remember all these things and you have them. If you put them on, like measuring against each other, damn well this is not a selfish choice. It's just a very simple equation. It became the thing I hate. Like, baby, you have already done it at least 7 times this month. Be so serious. Whatever. Point is, a mess. But you're right. Mrs. Flood, whatever she's alluding to happening, like, cause her throughout the season, I don't know, her tone was so inconsistent that it's hard to still know whether she's like what her.
It seems like she's just. I don't know if she is actively the one that's causing the issue. It sounds like she's just entertained. She's like, oh.
That's what I'm saying. Like she sounds like she's like a harbinger of something else, right? Like she's like, oh shit, Dev got here before my dude got here, so I guess we dying. But I think she thought something else was coming, and that didn't happen. So she's like, oh, well, I guess we gonna go ahead and die. Then when they came back, she was like, oh, bitch, we lied. That mean the other one can come. So that's what I took it as. But it was just her tone is so weird. I'm like, I don't know. Yeah. Like it's intriguing, I guess. So that's good.
And also the like breaking the fourth wall thing. I'm like, is that going to continue happening? Like, is we just going to continue having narration in here?
She's just bringing chaos with her. Very just interesting. I don't know yet, but she knows she better got my sis her tea. I know that, and I don't care. They didn't piss me off. I'm very mad. I was trying so hard to see it.
Oh my god! Nick has gone from I trust RTD to get it together and bring the storyline together to I don't care.
I don't care. It's like it literally is worse than how I felt about with Moffat. It was like hate, but hate still comes from a place, right? Like hate still comes from like disappointment. I don't know. This is more like I wish I hated it as much as like I hate it like in an annoying way, but I don't know how to explain it. Like, yeah. I just can't. It's like annoying. Yeah. It's more annoying is what I am. I'm highly annoyed, which is more irritating than hating. I have to say.
Good thing we have one more episode for this season because we'll be doing our Tibus Live next week.
Which ain't got nothing to do with this raggedy ass season. So to be clear, Because that would be, we would have to maybe put the kibosh.
Yes, so we don't have to end on this note, which is nice. But for today, we're gonna wrap it up. And you can find us at blacknerdscreate.com or come kick it with us in our Black Nerds Create Discord server. We are on the site formerly known as Twitter at BLK Nerds Create and everywhere else at Black Nerds Create. Talk to us on socials using the hashtag Tarbis and tell us what you think about Empire of Death and this entire season of Doctor Who.
Yeah. When she said, bye, thanks for being in the chat, friends.
Oh my God. Thanks, y'all.